the Stanford Prison Experiment. Orchestrated by psychologist Dr. Philip Zimbardo in August 1971 at Stanford University, stands as a pivotal and highly controversial study in the field of psychology. This audacious experiment was conceived to probe the psychological impacts of power dynamics within a simulated prison setting. Yet it unveiled far more profound insights into the human psyche, demonstrating a disturbing ease with which individuals can assume roles that promote oppressive and abusive behaviors. At the core of the Stanford Prison Experiment was Dr. Zimbardo's intent to analyze power relationships between two distinct groups, prisoners and guards. To achieve this, the psychology building's basement at Stanford was transformed into a mock prison where 24 male college students were enlisted to play the roles of guards and prisoners. The selection of these participants was rigorous. Each was screened for psychological stability, physical health, and a lack of criminal background to ensure that the findings would focus purely on the psychological effects of the environment rather than pre-existing personal traits. Each participant was assimilated into his role through detailed, symbolic attire that enhanced the realism of the environment. Guards were equipped with mirrored sunglasses, which obscured their eyes to prevent any human connection with the prisoners, reinforcing their impersonal authority. Their uniforms, along with billy clubs, resembled those of actual prison guards, symbolizing power and control. In contrast, the prisoners were dressed in plain smocks with their names replaced by numbers, stripping them of their personal identities and reducing them to mere objects within the guard's domain. This immediate and stark delineation between the groups set a dramatic tone, facilitating a rapid and intense psychological immersion into their roles. The unfolding of the experiment quickly escalated into a distressing display of human behavior. The guards adapted to their roles with unsettling zeal, employing psychological tactics and physical punishments that underscored their dominance. The transformation was rapid and profound, with some guards seeming to relish their control over others, taking on authoritarian traits that bordered on sadistic. Meanwhile, the prisoners showed increasing signs of distress and dehumanization, reacting in ways that ranged from passive submission to acute emotional breakdowns. The psychological descent was so severe that multiple prisoners had to be released early from the experiment for their safety. Dr. Zimbardo had anticipated that participants would naturally gravitate towards their assigned roles, but the depth of their integration and the speed with which they descended into these roles were both shocking and revealing. The guards' cruelty and the prisoners' despair exceeded all predictions, prompting an early termination of the study after just 6 days instead of the planned 2 weeks, due to the extreme emotional trauma exhibited by the participants. The aftermath of the Stanford Prison Experiment brought with it a wave of ethical scrutiny that significantly impacted the fields of psychology and social science research. The experiment had subjected participants to intense psychological stress, leading to a reevaluation of the ethical guidelines surrounding the protection of research subjects. Dr. Zimbardo's dual role as both the experiment's overseer and its superintendent was critically examined, with many suggesting that this overlap may have compromised his ability to remain impartial and protect the participants adequately. The ethical critiques focused not only on the distress caused to the participants, but also on the potential for the experimental setup to influence the behaviors displayed. It was argued that by creating an environment that implicitly encouraged dominance and submission, the experiment may have predisposed participants towards the behaviors observed, thus questioning the validity of the findings as purely derived from situational dynamics. Despite the criticisms, the insights from the Stanford Prison Experiment have profoundly influenced our understanding of human psychology, particularly regarding how people's behavior can be altered by situational forces. The experiment underscored the strength of situational contexts in overriding individual morals and personalities, lending empirical support to theories of situational attribution. Moreover, the resultant ethical debates catalyzed significant improvements in how psychological research is conducted, prioritizing participant welfare and the importance of ethical oversight. The ramifications of the experiment extend beyond academia into broader societal contexts, informing discussions on prison reform, law enforcement practices, and military training, highlighting how systemic structures can influence individual behaviors. The enduring lesson of the Stanford Prison Experiment serves as a cautionary tale about the potential for systemic abuse and power imbalances and the importance of designing systems that mitigate against such dynamics. In conclusion, the Stanford Prison Experiment remains a crucial study in the annals of psychological research, offering enduring lessons on the nature of human behavior, the importance of ethical standards in research, and the complex interplay between power and identity. It serves as both a landmark in psychological study and a continuous reminder of the responsibilities that come with the power dynamics structured within our societies. As we move forward, the experiment's legacy continues to influence both the theoretical and practical aspects of psychology, ethics, and beyond, reminding us of the profound impact our environments have on our actions and the critical need for vigilance in upholding ethical standards in all forms of research and governance.